Ghost Stories Banshee, the Wailing Death Spirit. Have you ever heard a scream so haunting? It felt like death itself was calling your name. In the quiet town of Glenfield, beneath the moonlit orchard, an ancient spirit weeps in the dark, a ghostly wail that signals someone is about to die. When Claire Donovan returns home after her grandmother's death, she uncovers a chilling family curse tied to the Banshee. The faceless woman in white who cries for the dying and whispers the name of her next victim. But what if the next name is yours? Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare for a terrifying descent into the world of the Wailing Death Spirit. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified of our latest videos. Thanks you. The night air in Glenfield, Massachusetts was bitter cold as Claire Donovan's car turned off the highway and onto the winding dirt road that led to her family's home. The woods loomed around her, tall and still, with only the moonlight to guide her path. Her grandmother had passed away 3 days earlier. Claire had made the trip from Boston out of duty, not belief. Nathan, her older brother, stood on the porch when she arrived, a cigarette smoldering between his fingers. He looked tired, worn down by years of hard drinking and grief. "Hey, sis," he mumbled. Inside, the house felt like a frozen memory. The air smelled of old books, lavender soap, and something else, a scent she couldn't quite place. Claire's eyes scanned the living room, landing on an envelope resting atop the stone fireplace. It was yellowed and marked in the sharp cursive she knew all too well. "To Claire, when I am gone." She tore it open slowly. "Child, I've heard her again. The wailing in the orchard. It's the Banshee. She came for me, and now she waits in the trees. Tell your brother to leave the whiskey. Tell the priest to prepare. And Claire, don't let her scream your name." Claire exhaled sharply. "Still with the ghost stories, Grandma?" That night, something woke her. A high-pitched cry outside, sharp and shrill, like grief weaponized. Claire stumbled to the window. Through the fogged glass, she saw a figure standing at the edge of the orchard. A woman, dressed in white, her hair long and floating as if suspended in water. But her face, there was no face. Claire blinked. The figure was gone. Downstairs the next morning, Nathan was already awake, staring blankly at the table. "You heard her, didn't you?" he said. Claire hesitated. "I don't know what I heard." Nathan pulled an old photograph from his wallet and slid it across the table. It showed their mother standing outside with a smile. But in the background, barely visible, was the same faceless woman, draped in white, standing by the trees. "She showed up the day before Mom died," he said. "I saw her back then too." Claire didn't know what to say. Desperate for answers, she visited St. Patrick's Church. The old priest, Father Brennan, greeted her with a wary look. "You've seen her," he said before she even spoke. Claire nodded. "What is she?" "She's an omen, an old one. The Irish call her the Banshee. She doesn't kill, but her wail is the cry of death. She screams for the dying. I've heard her 3 times in my life. Each time someone passed before the week was out." He led her to a cracked stained glass window, an ancient depiction of a weeping woman amidst graves. "She's part of this land, part of the blood," the priest said. "Your grandmother knew. She heard the scream the night your grandfather died. And now—" She screamed again. Claire finished for him. That evening, a knock came at the Donovan door. It was Ella, Father Brennan's 16-year-old niece. Her face was pale, her hands trembling. "I saw her," she said, voice trembling. "In my dream. She was inside your house, standing over your bed." Nathan rolled his eyes. "She's just a kid." But Ella ignored him and stepped closer to Claire. She was weeping. Not loud, just broken. "But when you opened your eyes," she screamed. "Who is she coming for?" Claire asked, voice hollow. Ella looked up, her eyes wide. "You!" Claire couldn't sleep, so she grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the orchard, hoping to prove to herself that this was all nonsense. Nothing more than imagination and grief. The orchard stretched out in perfect silence. Her breath misted in the cold. The beam from her flashlight barely cut through the fog. But then, a sound. A sobbing, low and aching, coming from beneath one of the older apple trees. And there she was again. The Banshee. White dress tattered, hair whipping through there was no wind. Her face blank. Her body trembling with grief. Then, she opened her mouth. And the scream that poured out made Claire drop the flashlight and fall to her knees. Claire scrambled backward, covering her ears. But just before the scream ended, she heard one word, whispered like a curse. "Nathan!" She ran. Back inside, Claire found Nathan half asleep with a bottle in his hand. "She said your name," she gasped. "She's coming for you." Nathan didn't respond. The next morning, he was gone. His truck still in the driveway, his keys and phone untouched. The police searched the woods. Drones scanned the orchard. But nothing, not even a trace. All they found was the torn photograph Claire had seen earlier, hanging from a low tree branch. Claire returned to Father Brennan, trembling. She screamed his name, then he vanished. "She doesn't always kill," the priest said. "Sometimes she leads them into death, or madness, or nowhere." Ella stood nearby, shaking her head. "She's not finished." "What do you mean?" Ella's eyes glistened. "She didn't only scream Nathan's name." Claire didn't understand at first. Then it hit her. 2 nights later, Claire began having dreams. Vivid, feverish. In them, she wandered endless corridors of mist. The Banshee followed her, never running, always just a few steps behind. Each time Claire turned around, the spirit would open her mouth and scream, but no sound came out. She woke up gasping for air. Desperate, Claire decided to confront the spirit one last time. Alone. She went to the orchard at midnight and brought nothing but her grandmother's rosary. She stood beneath the same apple tree and called out, "I know you're here! What do you want from me?" From the silence, weeping rose, soft at first, then louder. The fog around her thickened, and the temperature dropped to freezing. The Banshee stepped forward. She was clearer now, her form more human than before. Claire could make out faint features, hollow eyes, tear-streaked cheeks, and lips trembling with despair. Claire stood her ground. "Is it me? Am I the one who's next?" The Banshee shook her head. Then she pointed. Behind Claire. Claire turned. A figure stood at the edge of the orchard. Nathan. But something was wrong. His skin was pale, his eyes glassy. He wasn't breathing, and in his hands, he held the same bottle he'd had the night he disappeared. "Nathan?" Claire whispered. He didn't answer. Then he opened his mouth and let out a low wail. Not human. His jaw dislocated grotesquely, his scream echoing the Banshee's. Claire fell back, terrified, and then he vanished. The Banshee stared at her one last time, eyes full of sorrow. Then she turned and walked back into the fog. Claire collapsed to the ground and sobbed. She woke up the next morning in her bed, the rosary still in her clenched fist. A note lay on her pillow. The debt is paid. From that night on, the screams stopped. But Claire left Glenfield for good. She sold the family house, deleted her Boston life, and moved far away. Yet every year, on the anniversary of her grandmother's death, she receives a voicemail from an unknown number. It's never a voice, only a soft, sorrowful wail. And sometimes, she swears it whispers her name. Thank you, dear audience, for tuning in. Goodbye for now, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next stories.